Allison Solvin with stampcrazywithallison.com, and today I wanted to share this really cute card that I made with the stamp set Nature's Beauty. This stamp set is featured on the last page of the holiday catalog, so sometimes I miss things at the back of a catalog. I don't know if you're like me, but on the very last page, on page 63, you will see this stamp set. And what makes this stamp set extra special, other than it's got adorable images, is that it has been selected and created for a special campaign. $4 of every sale of this stamp set goes to mental health organizations. And in Canada, it's to the Canadian Mental Health Association. So let's get started. I started with a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 Sahara sand, and I scored it at 4 1/4. So this is a standard card size. I've gone ahead and embossed it with the Subtles embossing folder, the Subtles 3D embossing folder. So I just put it in like that. And then for your sandwich, for your big shot, you're going to need the platform, and you're going to need your folder with the piece of cardstock, and then you're going to put a clear plate on top, and you're going to run it through the big shot. And I've got a piece of early espresso for the middle of my card here, and I've got some pieces of designer series paper. These are from the annual catalog, and you can get them in packs. They're 6 by 6. You get, I think it's 4 of each color in a color family. And so I've got crumb cake. This is the again, the Smoky Slate, and those are both from the Neutrals pack. And then I've got the Pear Pizzazz, which is from the Subtles pack. So it gives you a whole bunch of designs, and you can see that they've got different patterns. You can choose which side you want. Now here's how I would start this. I've got a piece of, smaller piece here. This is, I think, 1 inch by 3. And I'm going to start by putting it at the top of my piece of early espresso, and then I've got my second piece I'm going to put on the bottom. I just find it's easier for me to space my pieces if I lay the top and bottom first, and then I can just come in and add my middle piece, and it may overlap a little bit, which is fine because that means it can line up really easily. So there we go. And I got a little bit of glue there, but that's okay. I'm going to just wipe that up. It'll be covered up by my image, so I'm not too worried about that. Set that aside. I've taken a piece of watercolor paper. I've cut it out with the Stitched Shapes dies. This is, I think, the second largest circle. And I'm going to color it in with some inks and my aqua painter. So I've got Old Olive, I've got Smoky Slate, I've got Blushing Bride, and I've got Pool Party. So I'm going to start with the Blushing Bride. When you open up your stamps pads here, you can squeeze them and transfer the ink to the lids. And then I'm just going to take my aqua painter and I'm going to pick it up, and I sometimes just test it on my paper just to make sure I haven't got too much. So I just want him to have kind of inside of his ears be pink, and maybe a little pink eye and a little pink nose. And between colors, you just kind of brush it off on a scrap piece of paper to get the ink. I like to start with the lightest color because then my brush isn't saturated with a really strong dark color. So this one here is Smoky Slate. Again, I've squeezed it, and it's a bit too strong, full strength. So I'm just going to mix it up a little bit with my aqua painter, and then I can go in and add the color to my bunny. Now I could have used some crumb cake here. That would have been cute too. I just wanted them to be a little subtler than, and not too strong a brown. So you can see it's quite easy to watercolor. You don't have to worry too much. If you go outside the lines, that's what watercoloring is supposed to look like. Now I can let that dry, and if I want, I can go in and add some darker highlights here to his fur. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, next up is Pool Party. And I'm going to just go in and pull up some, and I just want actually quite a light color around him just for the sky. The other thing, when you highlight the outside of a stamped image with either a pool party or even a gray, if you're using our Stampin' Blends, it just sort of anchors your image a little bit better than just having it kind of hanging out there. So there he is, and then all I have to do is add some grass. So I've got my old olive for that, and I'm just going to go in, and I'm going to do a very light color, and then I can always go in and add more. So you let it dry between applications, and then you can go in and add some more darker color if you prefer. So there's my little bunny. I'm going to just set him aside for a sec. In my pieces again. Now for this layer, you could pop it up with some dimensionals if you wanted, but I'm just going to glue it down. But before I do that, I want to add some ribbon to Gther Ribbon Combo Pack. It includes 2 spools. One is a Cajun Craze linen thread. You get 10 yards of that. And the other is this gorgeous ribbon. It's got a satin edge. I don't know if you can see it. It's a crumb cake color, and it's got this beautiful satin edge on each side, and then your kind of linen in the middle. It's really pretty. You get 5 yards of that. So just want to measure that and cut it. Okay. And then I want to wrap that around my middle here and affix it to the back of my piece. Okay, so I've got that, and the next thing I want to do is run some linen thread around the middle. And I love linen thread, especially for a project that kind of got an outdoorsy look. So I'm going to run this around 3 times and then come back to the front. And you see I left it on my spool, and that way I don't use as much, or I don't waste as much linen thread. So I'm going to just bring that up like this. And then I just want a little bow on the side. And then I can go ahead and just add my liquid mono glue here. I know in my, I always mention this in my videos, but I really do love this glue. I think it's the most versatile glue we sell. And it's really reasonably priced, and I just love working with it. It takes a bit of time to get used to it, but once you're used to it, it works fabulously. Okay, so there's that piece. Now I'm going to bring my bunny back in, and I'm going to pop him up with some dimensionals. You can see that I stamped on the other side. That's what I love about watercolor paper, is if you don't like the image, you just turn it over because it won't bleed through. You'll never see what was on the other side if you make a mistake. So here he is. Okay. So there he is. And then the last thing I want to do is add a little saying. So for that, I used the Itty Bitty Greeting Set. It's a two stamp sets, actually. Some outside images and then matching inside images. And today I'm using this one down here, Sweet Baby, because I thought this would be great for a neutral baby card. So I just cut a strip of the early espresso. I always, when I'm going to emboss something, I always use my embossing buddy, and I'm just going to give that a swipe. That gets rid of all the oil from your fingers. And then I used my Versamark pad with my stamp, and I added some embossing powder and heat set it. But for the interest of our video, I've gone ahead and done that, and I've was able to get 3 on a strip. So I'm just going to cut this freehand and add some glue. And there we go. So here's my finished card again. And just as a reminder, I use the 3D subtle embossing folder here. I've got the designer series paper from the annual catalog. It comes in the 4 color families, so neutrals, subtles, regals, and brights. It also comes in the 2 in color offerings that are still current. So 6 different packs. And I love it because they're cut in 6x6, and I just love it because I usually use it all up throughout the year. And I never don't have the right designer series paper to go with my cardstock. This is, again, the Nature's Beauty stamp set. It's on page 63 of the holiday catalog. Not only is it adorable, but it also donates $4 from the sale of every one of the sets to the Canadian Mental Health Association, which is a great cause. The little words are the itty bitty greetings. It's in the annual catalog, and it's a 2-set stamp set, which is very versatile. It covers off pretty much every holiday or occasion that you can imagine. And don't miss this gorgeous satin linen thread that's from the Come Together suite that's in the holiday catalog. All the products that I've used will be listed in the video, and I'll also have a blog post coming sharing the dimensions and whatnot for the card. And then just using the exact same layout, here's a card using different designer series paper and a different stamp set. This is the Moose stamp set, the Merry Moose with the Moose Builder Punch. And so you can see it's the same sketch. I just have used different colors and different stamps. So thanks so much for joining me today. Happy stamping.
Step it up worldwide. Here we go. On my way up, 'cause it's up to me. Growing in a field of possibilities. And I'm loving and exploring my creativity.